Hey there, Kevin. I also want to talk about advertisements, particularly ad revenue. Feels like people have sort of a misconception of what exactly, or how exactly it works. This goes back to sort of the thing I was talking about the Andrew Wilson Destiny thing, is forgetting that money represents productivity. And when it comes to advertisements, there's a lot of abstraction between that and the income. So, why can you make money from ads? It's because advertisers pay you to show the ad. Well, why do they pay you to show the ad? That's because the ad generates them money. Because, well, why does it generate them money? That's because people see the ad, will buy the product that's being advertised. The cost of the service, we'll say YouTube, for example. Let's say YouTube was a paid service. The cost of running YouTube would probably, I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable of these things, but I don't imagine it would be very different. If it was paid, it was paid for directly through, as a paid service, or if it was just paid through advertisements, advertising revenue. Assuming the same user base and it's like the same amount of revenue. So if you think about it, people have to be spending money on ads. So there's a certain amount of money that YouTube has to make in order to run the website. If they say, let's say it's $1 million, which obviously is way off, but just for simplicity, say $80 million. That's how they raise that through ad revenue. Well, for advertisers to pay them $1 million, people would have to be buying more than $1 million worth of products, specifically because of those advertisements. So now, Kevin, I want you to think, when's the last time you bought something specifically because of an advertisement? Personally, I'm hard-pressed to think of one. Of course, I don't buy that much anyway, but the point I'm really trying to make is there's no free lunch. The phrase is like you're the product, but that's not really accurate. You're just paying indirectly. And to the extent you're not paying, someone else is paying more. So it's really almost like some people are paying in order for you to get the product for free. Someone else is paying your portion. Now, there are a few quirks to this. Perhaps, usually you don't buy something unless you think it's worth it. Now, of course, there's plenty of people who buy a bunch of junk they don't need. That doesn't really make them happy, except for the instant they get it. But we'll say in an ideal scenario, the people who get the advertisements would improve their life because even though they spend the money, it's something that benefits them more than the money they spent. In which case, we could say that funding the website through advertisements is more beneficial than through direct payment. This is, of course, contingent on enough people buying stuff through advertisements directly because of the advertisements that the website can function. But the other wrinkle is political type advertisements, which is not just political advertisements, but also anything like a call to some charitable action that's not donating money, but an actual like charitable action or like a PSA or something like that. They're trying to get you to do something rather than spend money. Which, of course, we could also ask about the effectiveness of those, but... And also the ratio of those to commercial advertisements. That is substantial enough that it probably does make a difference a little bit.